Hey everyone, welcome to today's tapping break. Today we're going to dig into looking at a little bit of where we may hold resistance around receiving and how we can kind of declutter some energy or get into a place of more observation and allowing our awareness to peek through this and to uncover what we can maybe learn from the way we do receive right now and how we maybe want to receive in the future, or what we would like to, how we would like to be in receiving. And another bridge for that, so if we have resistance around receiving, how can we get to a place of receiving as graciously as we give? So I know that this is especially a big topic for a lot of women, a lot of mothers. So if you're a parent or a caregiver or whatever, this may show up in any way, shape, or form for you in your life. But as a woman, as a mother, I know I've had to deal with this, and I've had to, I mean, it's always a work in progress, but I really feel like, yeah, there is a lot of resistance around receiving, but I know that I can also receive as graciously as I give. And yeah, so this is for you guys so that you can kind of just open up to a little bit more of what that may be meaning for you in your life right now. And I know that for me personally, I think one of the biggest things about receiving was that I really started to understand my part that I had to play within the role of, teaching myself how to receive. Was a while, like this is probably a few years ago, my kids were toddlers and I was getting them ready so that we could go shopping, grocery shopping. And my husband got home from work early that day and he's like, oh, well, take the, go without the kids, like go by yourself. And I was just like, oh, so excited, like, yay, we don't have to cart the kids around. I mean, as much as, that was the normal thing for me to do at that point, we had it down. But, I love alone time, and that was really important for me at that time. And I was so excited. And he basically handed that to me on a silver platter. And long story short, I didn't go out by myself. There was different issues there where I was just not able to receive that. And I kind of kiboshed it and I was like, you know what, we actually don't need to go. We can do it tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. Because of my own stuff that was coming up about receiving what it was that I was wanting to get. Sorry, we've got these weird little bugs in here. Anyway, not weird little bugs, but anyway, I'm just trying to think, because yes, it was my own personal sense of not being or not feeling like I was able to go out by myself. I was a stay-at-home mom of toddlers, and I can remember there was a moment where I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think I should be able to go. Like, I mean, I can't go out looking like this, which probably wasn't too far off from what I'm looking like now. But I have a different awareness and a different understanding about it. Doesn't really matter about that. And so anyway, I wasn't there at that time. But it was just a really key moment for me to understand that even if I was given whatever it was that I needed on a silver platter, it was all lined up perfectly and amazingly. If I was not available to receive it, I was not going to be able to receive it, right? So it's not anybody else's responsibility to help us to receive things. So, I mean, that was a very pivotal moment for me, that in like, nobody else is going to hand this to me. Even if they did hand this to me, it's my responsibility and it was my job to get to a place where I could receive, right? Nobody can hand this to you. It's an inside job. So I thought we would do some first round of just kind of tapping on, venting it out, some other different aspects around what we may feel when we receive. And just keep in mind, what comes up for you when you received a compliment, or when you received a free coffee or a free meal, been gifted something, or you've been gifted something like time, like I was back then. Try to not make that mistake anymore. But it's still something that does come up. It can be uncomfortable. It's vulnerable, to be able to be seen or recognized or acknowledged in some way, shape, or form. And to be, it can feel a little off sometimes, because we're used to giving, especially as women, especially as mothers, especially as parents. we're used to giving, especially in our jobs. I mean, this is everywhere across the board, right? So I don't want to pinpoint it, but there are some people and some aspects of life that where we may struggle in it more than others. So anyway, regardless, it really can, what was I talking about with this? It can feel uncomfortable, right? And we can feel like we're refusing it, or we have resistance around this kind of thing. So again, I talked about, I have a couple notes here, not deserving it or feeling like we haven't earned it, which is a little bit of what I had felt those few years ago. Back then, it was like, I feel guilty for leaving my kids, or I kind of feel ashamed that I was not able to make myself appear like, what's the word? Oh my God, whatever it is. I wasn't presentable. I was not, in my own mind, feeling like I was presentable enough to leave the house without the kids, because I felt like a disheveled mother, right? Anyway, unworthiness, again, that's another thing that might come up. Again, it's the deserving, it's the enoughness, it's that. Another really big one is feeling like if we receive something or accept something, we're taking away from others. So there's guilt in that. So I would really say take a breath, take a moment here and see what comes up for you around receiving. What were you taught and what have you learned? And I mean, we'll get there, but keep in mind that what we have been taught and what we have learned, we can teach ourselves a new way and we can unlearn, right? So that we can work with it and we can receive as graciously as we give. So let's just start with the one top round here, the first round, top round. And just, if you can find like a comfortable place, if it's safe to do so, you can, close your eyes, take a breath, just tap into what you feel in your body when you think of receiving something. So if you've received a compliment in the past, or a coffee, or acknowledgement, or a reward, or been gifted something in the past, how have you felt, and where have you felt that in your body? Was there resistance? Was there appreciation? Was there a mixture of, both? And, there we can definitely feel very grateful and appreciative of the things that we do receive, with a hint of shame or guilt or not enoughness or uncomfortable discomfort, vulnerability, that kind of thing. There can be a mixture of all of these things together. So when you're ready, we'll just start tapping on the side of our hand and say, even though I feel resistance in receiving, I love and accept this part of me now. Even though I feel uncomfortable, I feel vulnerable, and it makes me feel uneasy being on the receiving end. I acknowledge this part of me now, and I love and accept where I'm at. Even though I feel resistance around receiving, I feel like if I am accepting something, I am taking away from others. I feel like I haven't earned what I am receiving. I love and accept this part of me now. Going to the top of the head, we'll say it's uncomfortable to receive. Eyebrow points. I definitely have some resistance around receiving. Who am I to receive this? Underneath the eye. It's uncomfortable being acknowledged. Underneath the nose. Who am I to deserve this? Underneath the mouth. There's a lot of other people who need this more than I do. Collarbone point. I haven't suffered enough. I haven't done the work to get this. Underneath the arms, nothing in life is free. So how did I get in this spot? Wrist points, where I am receiving something out of the blue, top of the head, without working for it. Eyebrow point. I definitely have some resistance around this. Side of the eye. I forgive myself now for feeling this resistance. Underneath the eye, I forgive myself for not feeling worthy of receiving. Underneath the nose, I forgive myself for believing in the lack and the scarcity mindset. Underneath the mouth, where I believe that if I receive or accept something, I am taking away from others. On collarbone point, this is a really vulnerable thing sometimes. Underneath the arms, and there's a big part of me that wants to be able to receive as graciously as I give. Underneath the chest, but there's an even bigger part of me though that has resistance with receiving. This point, and I give myself permission now. Top of the head, to look into this eyebrow point, to do a little bit of work around my mindset and my emotions. Side of the eye, and just to acknowledge and honor where I'm at right now. Okay. Taking a nice gentle breath. Maybe having some water if we got that around. Make sure you're not dripping water all over you. It's not operator error. Anyway. So what came up with you in that round? I know for me, it's a very it can be contrasting, right? Because we're taught that we need to be grateful for what we receive and we need to be humble and kind and generous as well. But you know, it's really funny sometimes to take a look at the contradictory things that we're taught or that we pick up on throughout our life. And so just really take a moment here and yeah, just kind of take a breath and see what comes up for you in this. Are you able to, when have you received well? You know, maybe this is the thing that's coming up right now. Well, actually, you know, I don't have an issue receiving. I can accept and I can appreciate, and I'm very grateful. And in turn, that allows me to give even more freely. And that's like an open loop. That's an open cycle, a very clear and clean, fluid cycle of giving and receiving, right? And so, yeah, just if that is the case for you, amazing. And then if not, then this is even more amazing too, because if you have any like slight blockages or where you feel like a kink in that loop, you can take a look at that and tap through it or do some work around it, do some observation. Sometimes all we need to do is just look at something and acknowledge something that's there and give it a little attention, and then it's okay, right? The thing for me too is that I had to teach myself, you know, I had to show myself what it was like to receive. I had to observe other people who were really good at receiving. And then I had to make that work for me, right? So we are each very unique to the way that we show up and how our energy towards things, right? So really taking a look at, you know, how you would receive, how would you like to receive, and what's stopping you from doing that. But I mean, there's never going to be a lack of opportunities to practice this as well. And so, yeah, I think that's very important too. If we feel like we're always missing opportunities to receive, or we're blowing it kind of thing, right? Like that's also another angle that you could take a look at. And, you know, just open yourself up to awareness around how would I like to do that in the next time I'm presented this opportunity. And yeah, just kind of play that out in your mind, and how would it feel? What would it look like? And yeah, go from there. So let's just do another quick round of tapping, and just let's talk about a little bit more about how we have to cultivate this from within. This is really an inside job. This is not something that somebody else can do for us. This is not something that we can necessarily, I mean, we definitely could probably learn how to receive if we were continuously, constantly given things, you know. I think that, I mean, sure, we could definitely learn how to receive as a result of external circumstances and what people are, you know, offering for us or to us. But I really do feel like there's a piece of this here where it's an inside job. We have to cultivate it from within. Even if we're handed something on a silver platter, I mean, if everything works out so perfectly, are we going to be able to initiate that acceptance, right? Are we going to be able to take initiative to be open to allowing and accepting? So tapping on the side of the hand, we're going to say, even though I still have some resistance around receiving, I'm getting more curious now about what it would look like to receive graciously. And I love and accept where I'm at right now. Even though I have been resistant to receiving, I know that I want to receive graciously. And I'm open to leaning into what this feels like for me. And I love and accept myself anyway. Especially because there have been times when I can receive. I'm curious about what those circumstances were. How did I feel inside? Was there anything specific about this that made it okay for me to receive? And I'm open to exploring this now. Top of the head. I can receive. Eyebrow point. Yes, it's sometimes uncomfortable and vulnerable. Side of the eye. Sometimes I feel guilty, and sometimes I don't. Underneath the eye. I'm ready to look at the times when I have been able to receive graciously. Underneath the nose. What were the common denominators? Underneath the mouth. How did I feel in my body and my emotions, in my mind? Collarbone point. I'm curious what it would take for me to feel like this again. Underneath the arms. Am I able to cultivate this within myself without receiving? Underneath the chest, because I believe the truth is this point. Yes, I have worked hard. Top of the head. I have done the work and put in the effort. Eyebrow point. I am taking a look at this right now. Side of the eye. And I am worthy because I am. underneath the eye. The world is an abundant place. Underneath the nose. Just because I accept something does not mean that somebody goes without. Underneath the mouth, because I know that I can give as graciously as I receive. Collarbone point. And I know that other people give very graciously too. Underneath the arms, how do I feel when I give someone something? Underneath the chest, but they don't receive it fully or with appreciation. Wrist points. How does it make me feel when I feel the resistance of somebody receiving something from me? Top of the head. I'm ready to take a look at that now. Eyebrow point. I'm ready to learn something a little bit new. So yeah, it's something a little different. Underneath the eye, and I'm open to seeing this in a different way now. Okay. Let's see if I pour some more. How does that feel for you guys? I would really like that. That's a pretty good question, actually, when you reverse it. Like if somebody is giving, if you're giving something to somebody and they kind of like, oh, no, thanks, I'm not, and you can tell that it's resistance, and that's that in the refusal, it's not because they don't want it, it's because they don't feel like they can have it. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, how do you feel? Like, what would you say to somebody that you were gifting something to and they were like, oh, I don't deserve this? What would you say to that person? And then can you say that to yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, no, you do deserve this. You have worked hard. You've put in the effort. You give. I've seen you give as graciously. So now I want you to open that loop and open that cycle of giving and receiving. And as mothers, just as a side note, if we are able to receive as graciously as we give, we're modeling that for our kids and our spouses and our, like anybody who is around us, anybody who is in our, in our sphere, in our life that is watching what we're doing essentially, right? And so this is another side note where we can cultivate this ability to receive and this allowing ourselves to receive with grace and with appreciation and just like a wholehearted like thank you, right? Like I see that, I mean, I'm appreciative that you're giving me what you're giving me, and I appreciate that I was able to receive it, right? And if you're able to receive in that way, like how, like that's teaching big things to your kids and to anybody else around you, right? And that's also like, if we take into consideration, we're modeling that for our kids, but then, how does it impact your relationships when somebody tries to, like your partner tries to gift you something and you're like, no, I don't deserve this. Don't give it to me. Give it back to the kids. Give it back to the kids, right? Like, don't spend money on me, spend it on the kids. Don't deflect it, right? Like when you do deflect it, how do you think that makes your partner feel? But not in a way that we need to please them or appease them in some way, shape, or form, but in a way of like that appreciation, that back and forth of like you're able to cultivate your worthiness from within, and you're able to cultivate that appreciation and allowing and receiving from within. And then so, when the next time your partner goes to give you something, you can like super appreciate it, and they can feel super appreciated, right? And then you're teaching them like, she does want things, she does need things, she can receive, she can have it, she doesn't just handle it all, or she doesn't just give it all back to the kids, or whatever that looks like, right? So it's another angle to it. It's really it's been super beneficial, like for me, and understanding that for myself. Being able to receive is actually a mode of you know, again, not stemming from a people pleasing or appeasement type of perspective, but like in being able to appreciate what you're being given and make that other person feel appreciated for thinking about you, right? So many things, so many things. So we're gonna do one last quick round of just breathing and tapping, allowing things to kind of sink in or bubble up, and just setting the intention that as you move throughout your day and the rest of your week or weekend, that whatever comes up will kind of be there for you to take a look at gently, and you know, it's slow shifts, right? We're going to create a slow shift around this. It doesn't happen overnight. So taking a nice gentle breath in. You can feel that energy start going through. Tapping on the top of the head, taking a nice gentle breath in and out. Eyebrow points, breathing in and out. Side of the eye, breathing in and out. Underneath the eye, breathing in and out. Underneath the nose, breathing in and out. Underneath the mouth, breathing in and out. Collarbone point, breathing in. Underneath the arms, stretching it out a little here. Breathing in and out. And underneath the chest, breathing in and out. Press points together, breathing in and breathing out. Woo! It's good. The yawning is good. The yawning, the tears, or the watery eyes, or the you know, the fidgetiness, you know, there's like sometimes you get gurgly guts, you know, just whatever, like however, if there's movement or if there's needing to like stretch, that's all good. That means the energy is moving. That means that your nervous system has been like dialed down enough for you to relax into the state of receiving. So I'm curious if you'd like to share anything that came up for you. I'd love to hear. Otherwise, we will check you guys later on the next tapping break. See you guys later. Bye.